well, welcome to your mat. Welcome to some yoga. We're going to spend this time with the request, of course, of getting rid of some of that tension in the neck and the shoulders and just doing a full body flow. And then towards the end, as we typically finish up, we'll do a little bit of some yin postures and just some holding of the postures a little bit longer so we can release a little more tension there. As far as props go, I am sitting on a blanket right now. You're welcome to have a blanket. It's not completely necessary, but it's kind of nice to have. And then I have blocks. I have 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have blocks at home, books will work as well. And these are really nice. There's a couple postures that we'll be doing today that it'll be good to have something to bring the earth up to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Coming into that comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. And let's just go ahead, shift around a little bit, do a little shimmy, a little dance. And when you're ready, close the eyes down, turn the hands up skyward in a state of reception, in a state of receiving. And you can even bring that thumb and that first finger together. Tall in the spine. Just spending these few moments, these few breaths. No special technique with the breath, just your natural breath. And just feeling it in the body. Quieting the mind down. Leaving our to-do list off the mat. Arriving in our space. Letting go of our day thus far. Spending just a few more moments with the eyes shut down, tuning in. On that next inhale, you can keep the eyes closed. We're just bringing the hands to heart center, pressing the palms together, and then bow the chin down towards the chest. Keep pressing into the hands, creating pressure here. Might feel good to even widen the fingertips, get a good stretch into each one of the fingers, good stretch into the palms. Drawing the nose up to center. I'm just going to turn this shape away from the body. So bringing the hands down towards the earth. So fingertips are down and we're keeping those palms, we're keeping that pressure, about 3 to 5 pounds of pressure here, pressing into the hands, just giving a good stretch into the wrists. You should feel some sensation there and some good stretching into the hands as well. And some strengthening into that upper part of the shoulders. Not a shape we come into a lot. But let's once again close the eyes down. And just take a few breaths. Bat the eyelashes back open. Taking the hands back up towards the chest. Just interlace the fingertips. And we're just going to send those hands forward. Get this good stretch again. Opening into the back of the shoulders. And that gets stretched and release in the wrist area. Draw the hands back in. We can just kind of play with the wrists, do a little worm back and forth. And then release the clasp of the hands. Hands come back into heart center. On that next inhale, let's draw the hands all the way out and up and around. Big circle down to the side, back into the chest. Raising fingertips up. Big circle all the way around. And then back in once more. Raising the fingertips up high. Cart the hands, grow tall here. Then bring that right hand down towards the earth. Left hand stretches and reaches. Thumb comes back. Not too much pressure in that supporting hand on the earth, but just enough to keep us upright and supported. Breathe into side body, open the heart. Keeping the palm down onto the earth, so keeping that right hand down, we're just going to slowly drift the left hand down to its side. Keep the ear over towards that right side. And then just find a little play here. Hovering that left hand back and forth. Or maybe draw little circles. And just breathe into the side of the neck on that left side. Explore and play here for a few moments. Pressing into that right palm, bring both hands back up towards the sky, open and reach and stretch here. Now gently release that right hand or left hand down, right hand overhead. Thumb rolls back, heart opens. And take a few breaths into the side body on this right side. Keeping left hand down on the earth and left ear towards left shoulder. Release that right hand down. And then once again, find a little exploration here. Moving that hand, waving it forward and back. Might feel good to find a few circles. Just noticing how the side of the neck feels. Maybe start to feel a little bit into the tops of the traps. And into that shoulder. Pressing into that supporting hand on that left side. Bring the hands both up towards the sky. And then once again, release them down into this big circle back to heart center. Just notice the space that you created as you bring the hands up and all the way back down. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears. And then relax them down the back. Getting into that lower half of the body a little bit more. Let's go ahead and start to rock the chest forward and back. So think of these as a seated cat-cow, leading with the chest, rolling through the spine, and coming back, tipping back. Just a few more times. Breathing, inhaling in as we come forward, exhaling as we roll back. And then take your time to come back up to center. We're just going to widen those legs out a little bit more. If you are with the legs straight, that works just fine too. I'm just taking my legs out just a little bit wider so I can create more of this diamond shape here. Taking the arms out into a wide T. I'm going to cross that left hand, bring it to the right knee, and then cross that right hand over top and holding on to the left knee. Go ahead and tuck the chin down towards the chest. So round into a little ball here. Feel the back body opening as you breathe deep into it. Make sure that those hands that are on top of the legs, wherever they're at, that they're not gripping or holding on super tight. They're just there using those legs as a little extra traction and guidance here. A few more of these long, deep breaths. Raise the head up out of this cave. We're going to take that right hand. If you start on the other side, then take that left hand. But we're going to take that right hand, sweep it up skyward, and then we're going to bring it behind the spine and come into a twist here. So left hand is on top of that right knee. Right hand is behind the spine. It's used as a little kickstand to keep us up nice and tall. So we're not hunching forward or leaning back. Gaze is over the back shoulder. And send that breath all the way down to the belly. One more breath. Releasing that hand from behind. Wave the fingertips up tall and then bring them back again into that wide T. This time I'm going to bring that right hand around to that left knee. Lost that, oh, what was that body part for a minute? And now guide that left hand over the right hand over to that left knee. Lots of different directions here. So just crossing that opposite arm over top. And if you are wondering if you're doing that same side, just kind of test it open and see what side you're opening to. So when we find this space, go ahead and snuggle the chin down and in. And invite that nice deep breath, really feeling it into that upper shoulders, upper body. And check out, make sure that you're not holding tension in the lower half of the body. Shouldn't be holding tension anywhere. So do a little body scan and check in and see if there's a space that you're holding on to. If you're gripping with the hands, see if you can release them and just use those knees as traction. One more nice, deep, long breath. Raise the chin up. Take that hand that's on top and we're going to bring it around and behind as a little kickstand behind the spine. Right hand is on that left knee and we're peeking over the back shoulder here. Make sure that we're growing tall here in this twist. I always like to think on my inhales that I grow a little bit taller, and on my exhales, I twist just slightly more, even if it's just a teensy tiny bit more. Using that breath to find space. One more moment here. Releasing the hand from behind and that right hand from the knee. Raise fingertips up tall, grow tall, tall, tall. And then float the hands down towards the hips. We're going to wrap those legs around and come into our tabletop position. You can continue to use that blanket if you would like to underneath the knees. Or you can even double up the mat and use that for a little extra support under the knees as well. So we're going to find a couple cat-cows, but we're going to do this with a little bit of addition of adding some child poses in this. So we're going to move throughout this practice with purpose. So this next inhale, let's go ahead and drop the belly, raise the gaze, and raise that heart through the arms into our cow. Start to round into the upper back, bring the chin in towards the chest. And then slowly release the hips down towards the heels, just into a child's pose for one moment. Bend the elbows, snake the chest all the way through, drop the belly down and gaze is up. Chin tucks in, round into the upper back. Release the hips down towards the heels, stretch those hands forward. Tuck that head down, pause in child's pose. Bend the elbows, really articulate through that spine, bring it all the way up and through, releasing belly as we look up into our cow. Tuck the chin in towards chest, start to round into the upper back, really pressing into the palms, and then release the heels. And the hips down towards the heels once again. Let's flow through that one more time. Bend the elbows, guide the chest through, peek up, tuck chin, round into the upper back, bring that tailbone in, and then release the bum down towards the heels, and just take a few moments breathing into this child's pose. Holding this for just a few more breaths. Feeling forehead up off of the earth, come back again into that tabletop position, and then just walk the hands forward slightly. Tuck the toes underneath. We're just going to kind of shift back just a few times, kind of feeling into the balls of the feet for just a few moments before we raise those hips up. And then when we're ready, go ahead and raise those hips up skyward, coming into our first down dog. And in this first down dog, go ahead and find a few gentle movements, maybe pedaling out the feet. Maybe just shifting hips side to side. Might feel good to nod the head, yes and no. Just feel into this full body stretch. On that next inhale, we're going to wave forward into our plank, lower the knees down, and then come into our up dog. Turn the toes so that they come back underneath, raise the hip points up, downward facing dog. Let's do that again. Coming onto the tippy toes, lowering down to the tops of the calves, tops of the thighs, raise up. I guess that would be the shins, not the thighs. Into our up dog. Tuck the toes, bring hips up, and into our down dog. Again, shifting forward, lowering down. Tops of the toes are down, tops of the feet are down. Feeling into this back bend. Tuck toes, raise hips up, downward facing dog. Let's just do that one more time. Roll forward, flip the tops of the feet down, coming into our up dog. Tuck toes, hips raise, down dog. Slowly walk the hands all the way back to meet the feet, and we meet in a forward fold. Go ahead and put a generous bend into the knees and allow the body just to melt down. The belly is heavy on top of the thighs. Just take a few inhales and exhales here, and maybe again find some gentle swaying and movement. Taking your time to very, very slowly rise all the way up to standing, no rush. And when we arrive at the top, roll the shoulders up towards the ears and release them down the back. Inhale, float the fingertips up high. Take a hold of that right wrist with that left hand, really bringing that right hip out to the side. Find a side body stretch here. Creating a little crescent moon shape. Come back up to center, take a hold of that opposite wrist and go ahead and dip over to that opposite side. Really sassing out that left hip to the side, pulling that left hand overhead to the right. Come back up to center, release the clasp of the hands and swan dive all the way down into your forward fold. Walk the hands away from the legs and come into our down dog. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Right heel raises up skyward, three-legged dog. Bend the knee and guide the knee in towards the chest, then step the foot down onto the earth and release that left leg down as well. You can use those blocks or books here to frame that front foot, or you can just keep the hands down on the earth. So we're going to come back and forth a few times into this lunge, and then shift back into this half split. So just a few times, sinking forward and shifting back. See if you can keep those hips square. And also, it's up to you. You can play with this where you can bring those toes up as you come back, or you can keep them down on the earth. Just notice the difference and feel that good stretch in the hamstring. Just a few more times, coming back and forth. And when you're ready, find some stillness here. I'm going to bring that that left hand over to the top of that left thigh. Taking that left hand, we're going to bring it behind to that hip over towards that left hip. So we're just finding this nice twist here, bringing the shoulder back. Really feeling a good stretch and twist along the front of that hip flexor and across the waistline. Release the hand from the lower back, raise it up for just a moment. Raise both hands up nice and tall, tip back into a back bend. And then release both palms down to frame the front foot. Tuck back toe underneath. Knee comes up off of the earth and step that right foot back. So we come into down dog. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Let's do that on the other side. So now that left heel raises skyward, three-legged dog. Guide the knee in towards center, hold and hover for just a moment, and then step or carry the foot to the front of the mat. Lower that right knee down onto the earth, and you can use those blocks once again if you'd like to frame the foot. Let's do a little bit of exploration, really moving through purpose, with purpose here. Moving forward and back. And it's up to you as we come back into that half split, if you want to keep the toes down on the earth or if you want to peel them up towards the face. I encourage you to try both ways and just feel the difference. Coming into stillness in this low lunge. Come up tall for a moment and then bring that right hand on top of the left thigh. Left hand is going to come around to that right hip and we're just going to twist open here. Nice long deep breaths. Giving a good twist, a good stretch in the psoas and the front of that hip flexor. And that lower back, as well as opening in the shoulder as well. Release the hand from the lower back, bring it up high. Release the hand from the leg, bring it up high as well. Back bend here. And then slowly release the hands down to frame that front foot, tucking back toe, bring the knee up off of the earth. And this time we're going to switch it up. We're going to step that foot forward to the front of the mat and meet in a forward fold. Inhaling in. Exhale to melt just a little bit more. Take your time to kind of shift back and forth as we very, very, very slowly raise all the way back up to standing. Inhale, sweep the fingertips up high. Exhale, cactus the heart open. Inhale, hands raise up high. Exhale, fold all the way down into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, melt down and fold. Bend into the knees, press into the feet, shoot all the way up tall, and then gentle the palms into heart center. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. Right foot steps forward or stays forward. Left foot's going to step back. And now we're going to be into our high lunge here. If you feel off balance at all, go ahead and just widen the stance so that you can feel a good base here. Bending into both knees. So I want that knee to start to come down to the earth. We're going to just do a little flow here. So both knees bent, back knee comes down, shins parallel with earth. Raise the fingertips up skyward. Start to lower that heel down, straighten the front leg, and lean forward into a pyramid. Let's do that again. Raise back up into our lunge, bending into both knees. Back shin is parallel with the earth. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, start to straighten that front leg. Bring that heel down. Bring the hands forward into our pyramid. One more time. Hands come up. Bend into both knees. Sink down. Bring the heel down, straighten that front leg, lean forward, both hands are forward, into our pyramid. Hands come back up tall, bring the hands to the hip line, and we're just gonna turn and pivot so we're on that long edge of the mat. Turn the toes to face the short edge of the mat, and heels are towards each other. Inhale, bring the hands up high. Exhale, bring the knees down and palm to heart center. Pulling up on the pelvic floor, sink down just a little bit more. Interlace the fingertips, and then just like we did earlier where we bring those hands forward, now bring them overhead. Create some strength here. Make sure those knees are not knocking in, that we're pressing them back towards the pinky toe side. Take a few breaths in this temple pose. Nice, good strengthening posture. Then release the hands down to the tops of the thighs. Turn the toes to the long edge of the mat and melt all the way down into a forward fold. Inhale in, exhale out. Inhale in, exhale out. We're going to come into our side lunge or our skandasana. So let's start with bringing the hands over to that right foot, bend into the right knee. You can stay tall here, or you can start to turn that left toes up towards the sky and bring the palms down. Or if you want to challenge, bring the hands to the heart. Go ahead and lower that foot if you are in skandasana, and slowly walk the hands over to that other side, bending into this left knee, right heel raise, or right toes raise up, and we're on that heel. Let's do that again. Shifting across. So you just can stay tall here, and you don't have to come all the way down. Or you can come all the way down, just like we did a moment ago. And then one more time, coming to that opposite side. Staying high or low, listening to your body. Come all the way back around to center. Toes turn slightly in towards each other and melt down in this forward fold. Bring the hands to the tops of the thighs. Tuck that tailbone down and round all the way up to standing. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep the hands up tall. Exhale, melt all the way down into our fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, melt and fold. Place the hands onto the earth and step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Shift forward into plank. Hold here for a moment. Really doming that upper back and bringing that belly button in towards the spine. Hold. And then take your time to lower all the way down to the earth. Inhale in, exhale out. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Elbows are really squeezing in towards the rib cage. Raise up into cobra. Does not need to be super tall. Tuck tail, or tuck toes. Bring tailbone up, downward facing dog. Inhale in, exhale out. Bend the knees, peek forward. Step, jump, or hop to the front of the yoga mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back, melt down. Bend the knees, sweep all the way up tall, mountain, and then gentle the palms into heart center. Inhaling in, exhaling out. This time we're going to keep that left foot forward. Right foot's going to step back into our high lunge. We're going to bend into both knees, coming onto the ball of that back foot so shin is parallel with the earth. Fingertips raise up high and sink down just a little bit more. Start to straighten that front leg, bringing that back heel down, hinge forward into a pyramid. Bend both knees, sink down into our lunge. Heel comes down, front leg straightens, arms hover above into this pyramid variation. Once more, hands raise, bend the knees, sink down. Straighten the legs, heel comes down, hinge at the waist, hold forward. Raise the hands back up tall, release the palms to that waistline. And we're gonna step, I'm gonna just turn so you don't have my booty to you and come into a nice wide stance here. Turn the toes to face outward to the short edge of the mat. Sink down and bring those hands to heart center. Interlace the fingertips, press the palms away, and then bring them overhead. Roll shoulders down and away from the ears. See if we can sink down a little bit lower and check in with those knees. Make sure we're pressing them back towards the little pinky toes. Take a few more breaths here. Really working to strengthen. One more inhale. And on the exhale, release the clasp of the hands. Turn the toes to the long edge of the mat. Melt down, forward fold. Walk the hands forward and find a halfway lift. Release back down into this fold. Inhaling in, exhaling out. We're going to come back into that side lunge. So again, you're welcome to stay tall, or you can come down and bring that opposite leg, toes up towards the sky, into our skandasana. Play in this a few times, either staying tall in that high side lunge, or dancing through skandasana a couple times each side. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and meet back into center. Kind of shimmy and shift around here. And melt down again into that forward fold. Toes are facing slightly in. We need to take our hands and find those peace fingers around the big toe and melt down just a little bit more. Bending into the elbows, really sitting that tailbone up high. Breathing deep. Walk the hands in front of the face and find a halfway lift. Melt back down into that fold. Hands come to the top of the thighs. Tuck that tailbone down to come all the way back up to standing. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front of the mat. Inhaling up. Exhale to melt all the way down, forward fold. Placing hands onto the earth, step back, downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank, lower the knees, and then lower the chest and come all the way down to the earth. Move these blocks out of the way. I'm going to bring that right elbow around so that forearm is at that 90-degree angle and in the front. And this will be my pillow here in just a moment. I'm going to take that left heel and bring it in towards the glute, and then take a hold of that foot with my left hand. So nice good quad stretch here. And if it's not accessible to take a hold of the foot, you can always hold on to the pant leg, or you can even use a strap here or a dog leash. Breathe deep into the belly. We've got this good stretch and opening into the top of the leg, into the quad. Very gently bring the head up off of the earth. Release that foot down. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders and come into our Sphinx pose. Might feel good to kind of shimmy the hips side to side. Make sure we're not clenching in the lower back. And if you feel any pain there, go ahead and widen the stance of the legs, bringing them out a little bit wider. Roll that chest through. Keep that gaze forward. And take another breath or two here. Slowly lower back down to the earth. Now take that left hand across. That's going to be our little pillow here on that forearm. And bring that right knee in, or that right heel in towards the glutes. And take a hold of whatever is available for you. This good stretch in the quad. And try to keep the tension out of the body. Breathe in the belly. Releasing the foot back down onto the earth. Release the head from the top of the arm and then shift back once again into our Sphinx pose. I almost went into Cobra. Bring those elbows down, shoulders roll back, open the chest here. If you want something a little bit more intense than just being into the Sphinx, you can always press into the palms and come up into your seal pose and get a little bit of a different back bend. Wherever you're at, just stay here for a few more breaths. Long, deep breathing. Tuck your chin in towards the chest. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And we're just going to bring the knees out wide, big toes to touch, and sink back into our child's pose. Taking a few moments to reset after those back bends. Peeling forehead up off of the earth, come back into that tabletop position. Tuck the toes underneath and meet me in down dog. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Right heel raises skyward, three-legged dog. Guide the knee in towards the nose, hold and hover here. Then step the foot to the front of the mat. Take your time to very slowly rise all the way up into our high lunge. Hands raised overhead. Inhaling in, exhaling out. Bring the hands into heart center. So that back foot, we're going to step it all the way up and through, raising it up towards the sky into half staff. So we're going to get into that quad a little bit more. Bring the hand around to the instep of that left foot. So you can use a wall if you need to find your balance here. And then we're going to magnetize that knee to that standing leg. So this might be just enough to hold onto the wall and kind of have this support in this dancer pose. Taking that left hand or right hand to the heart, start to raise that hand up skyward as we tip forward, just like we did in our pyramid earlier. Keep that knee facing down and in, not out to the side. Getting a stretch and opening into the shoulder, as well as this quad. Very slowly come back around to center, release the clasp of the hands, and then draw that knee in towards the chest. Giving it a good squeeze and hug here. Holding on to this knee with that inside hand, turn so everybody can see me. Holding on to it with that right hand. Just going to take that left hand either to the lower back or behind, and we're going to twist here. Flex the foot, it really helps. Release the twist, come back around, squeeze that knee into chest once more, and then release the foot down. Pedal out the feet a few times, and add a little bit with the arms, shifting side to side. We're going to go into that balancing again after a short little flow. At the front of the mat, bring the hands up skyward. Melt all the way back down into our forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Shift forward to high plank. Lower all the way down, up dog or cobra. Tuck the toes, bring the hip points back up, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Left heel raises up skyward this time, three-legged dog. Guide the knee in towards the chest, hold and hover for a moment, then step the foot to the front of the mat. Finding that balance, raise all the way back up into a high lunge. Starting to draw that back leg, so now it'll be that right leg all the way up and through. A little bit of balance, a little bit of wobble, that is all good. Wobble is good because we build some bone density here. Go ahead and bring that left hand or right hand to the inside of that right foot. Magnetize that knee to the standing leg. Start to bring that left hand forward, or you can keep it right here at the heart if that's easier for you. As we bring that leg back, pressing the foot into the hand. Find a focal point that's not moving. Keep breathing. And if you fall out, you can come right back. No worries. Very slowly come back up to tall. Release that leg and guide that knee into the chest. Give it a little hug here. Holding on to that right leg with the left hand. Go ahead and open out to the side. You can keep the hand at the hip and just find that twist here. Or you can bring the hand out behind, a little deeper twist. Flex the foot, keep holding the posture, not the breath. Be here for just another moment. Come back around to center, squeeze that knee. A little off balance today. Squeeze that knee in, and then release down. March the feet out. Getting a nice blood flow, moving again. And maybe dancing the arms side to side. Meet me at the front of the mat with the arms raised up high. Cactus and melt the heart all the way down into our fold. Place the hands onto the earth. Step the legs back. And then lower the knees down to the earth. We're going to swim those legs around and bring them out front. I'm actually going to turn towards you so you can see me. So legs are out front. I'm going to cross that right knee over the top of the left knee and snuggle it in. Bringing that bottom leg in, so bringing that left leg in as well. So we're bringing the knees on top of each other if it's accessible. If it's not, we can be a little wider apart. So we're finding our cow face pose. It's also called our shoelace pose. Keeping the feet, if you can, down onto the earth, or you can put a block underneath. Try to keep both sit bones down. And then we're going to take the arms up nice and tall. and then melt forward into a fold. Really getting into the hips here. Slowing the breath down. One more nice long deep breath. Slowly raise all the way back up to seated. We're going to unwind the legs, take them to the soles of the feet on the earth and the knees bent. Let's just windshield wiper side to side a few times. Releasing any tension in the lower part of the body. Knees face skyward again. Palms are behind, fingertips are facing the body. Let's send those hips up into a reverse table. I like to tuck my chin in here because when I toss it back, it doesn't feel very good for my neck. So give that a try. Without coming all the way down, bring the hips down towards the earth and then raise back up again into our reverse table. One more time, lowering the hips down, then raising them skyward. Lower the hips all the way down. Release the hands, give them a little shake out. And then we're going to find our cow face pose on the opposite side. So this time I'm going to cross that left knee over the top of the right knee and snuggle that left foot in towards the glute. See if you can stack the knees here. If it needs to be a little wider, then that's just fine too. Sometimes it's nice just to hold on to the feet even when we're in our fold. So you can try that with the hands in front or holding on to the feet themselves. Grow tall for just a moment, and then take that length with you, whether you're bringing the hands down or if you're just even holding on to the tops of the feet. Really breathe into that outside of the glute and the outside of that hip. Three more breaths. It's important to move slow, so move very slowly, raising back up, uncrossing the legs, and bringing the soles of the feet on the earth. Knees are up skyward, and we're just going to gently windshield wiper side to side. Toes are facing forward, fingertips are towards the body. Raise those hip points up, reversing our tabletop here. Without lowering all the way down, just bring those hips down, then raise back up. Once again, lower the hips down, then raise back up. Lower the hips down. Go ahead and bring the hands around those knees and guide those knees into the chest. Come into a little ball here. And just take a few moments to kind of do a little circles or any movement that feels good. Squeezing the knees into the chest once more. Let's go ahead and release the left leg down onto the earth, so the sole of the foot of the left leg down. Raise the right leg up high. Take a hold of either the back of the thigh or the back of the calf muscle, and just keep that leg skyward. As far as our left leg goes, you can keep the knee bent or you can straighten it down towards the mat. And wherever you're holding on to that raised leg, just make sure you keep the shoulders relaxed down. Point the toes towards the sky. Then point the toes towards the face, press into the heel. Again, point the toes skyward. Flex the toes towards the face. Find a few rotations of that ankle in one direction, then the opposite direction. Squeeze that knee in towards the chest. And then release that leg, starting with the sole of the foot onto the earth as we raise now that opposite leg skyward. Taking a hold of what is accessible, either the back of the thigh, or if you want to come up higher towards that calf, or even holding on to the big toe, just make sure that those shoulders can stay down on the earth wherever you're at. And you can keep that right knee bent, or you can bring it down towards the bottom of the mat, just noticing that different sensation of having it long. The leg that is extended, the toes point up towards the sky, then towards the face. Skyward again. Then press in the heel and bring them towards the face. Roll that ankle out in one direction, then the opposite direction. Releasing the hand from behind that thigh or that calf, bring the knee into the chest, give it a nice good hug and squeeze in. Releasing that leg long to the base of the mat. If you have any pressure in the lower back, just go ahead and keep those knees bent and soles of the feet down. Tuck those shoulders underneath so we can really pump that chest skyward. Palms turn up towards the sky in a state of surrender now. Turn the heels in towards each other, toes out to the side. And take several breaths, grounding into your space, feeling the energy settle back in. Begin to invite gentle movements into the hands, the toes, the ankles, and the wrists. Maybe nodding head. And when you're ready, extend the hands overhead, point the toes down towards the base of the body, stretch, and then release. Bend the knees once more, shift over to one hip, and rest for just another breath in your fetal pose. Take your time to press yourself back up to seated. And when we meet in our seated position, go ahead and bring those hands back into the heart once more. Close the eyes down, tuck that chin in, bring the nose towards those fingertips. And just notice the difference from where we began to the full circle of where we end. I want to thank you for joining me and sharing your practice, your energy, and your love for yoga. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Namaste.